Hey everyone, it's Anthony from Essentage. Just wanted to shoot a short video to share with you what I like to think are 3 critical tips for those of you that are thinking about starting a business, maybe transitioning from a side hustle into a full-fledged business, or maybe you've already started that small business and you really just want to accelerate your success. Going to start with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is start by assessing the viability and kind of scalability of the business. And what I mean is not necessarily some kind of full-blown business plan, but at a bare minimum, start with the numbers. Does it make sense from a numbers perspective? How much can I charge for my product or service? What are the costs associated with deploying or providing this product or service? And ultimately, what's my profitability? So really start by kind of sketching that out and trying to understand if it makes sense and how scalable is it. In other words, how much can it grow? And when it does grow to that point, what does it provide to you in terms of income? And can it support kind of your living expenses? That's really what you're going to determine. Is this a full-fledged business that can support me? Or is it more of that side hustle variety? But better to know that sooner rather than later. And that's why that first tip or that first step is extremely critical. Tip number 2, you definitely want to start your business by segregating your business activities. And the best way to do that is as soon as possible, open yourself up a separate business bank account, preferably a checking and savings account. Why is this important? 2 main reasons. 1, commingling your business activity with your personal financial activity makes it really difficult for you to assess how your business is performing. When you set up a separate business account, now you can capture all your business financial activities separately, and that's really going to give you those numbers that allow you to assess how you're doing and how your business is performing relative to those goals or that viability you set in number 1. Tip number 3. What you want to do next is use that information you're capturing in that bank account, that separate bank account, all that business activity. Now you've got the actual data to determine whether or not you're hitting those goals. And if you are, you aren't, ask yourself the why. What am I doing that's working? What am I doing that's not working? That's going to allow you to tinker with your business model, adapt to what's happening in your business or around you, whether it's internal or external market forces, and really, again, keep you on that path to success and growth. Now, I've got some great news for all of you. My business partner and I are actually about to launch a formal podcast called Keep Your Edge Financial Fitness for All. And even before the podcast officially launches and all the snazzy production for the podcast is done, these 3 tips for business success, whether you're thinking about starting a business or just started one, this content, these 3 tips are actually going to be episode 1. But what we're going to do ahead of the official podcast release is we're going to post the video of us filming the podcast on this topic, and we're going to be going in depth on all 3 of these tips. We're going to give you a lot of granular information and really more in-depth kind of insight into these tips and how you can deploy them in your small business or the small business you're thinking about starting. So definitely stay tuned for that video coming to our YouTube channel shortly. It's going to give you that in-depth look into these 3 tips and a preview what's to come in the future on the Keep Your Edge podcast. So again, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That podcast kind of behind the scenes episode 1 is going to be coming out. Definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to keep posting our usual video content, but just wanted to share these quick tips with you guys, let you know the podcast is coming, let you know even ahead of the podcast coming out, there's going to kind of be this bonus video where we're going to go in depth on these 3 tips. And until next time, as always, hoping everybody out there is staying safe and healthy.